G'day, this is the Happy Families podcast, real parenting solutions every single day. Mum, I'm bored. Dad, this is so boring. Do your kids get bored? Is it okay for them to be bored? What about those blogs that say that children need to be bored? Boredom is an essential part of creativity and it's good for their overall brains and their health and all those kinds of things. Today, a Doctor's Desk episode where we examine how much boredom is too much. Is boredom at all okay? Are the bloggers right, or the mummy bloggers saying that we need to help our kids to be bored more? Have we gone too far with overstimulation? We'll answer all of those questions and more so that we can work out how to help our children's brains function best in an overstimulated world. It's coming up next. Stay with us. Hello, this is the Happy Families podcast, real parenting solutions every single day. We are Justin and Kylie Coulson. Kylie, I'm looking at you right now and I can't help but say it. You're colouring in your book. You're drawing patterns and designs. I've done too long an intro and I get the feeling that you're bored.
It's a doctor's desk.
It's a doctor's desk. Oh, that's right. Okay. For anyone who's new to the podcast, every week or thereabouts, sometimes every couple of weeks, some new research will come across my desk, or I'll just decide that we're going to step into some research, and we call it the doctor's desk. It's where I get to geek out about what the latest science is. And Kylie's response, I would say in 80% of our doctor's desk episodes is
boring. I hear a foghorn.
Boring.
Which is so funny because when I talk to people when I'm speaking at events and things, they just say, "Oh, we love the doctor's desk episodes."
Yeah, they love it because I make fun of you.
No, actually, nobody ever says that they love the doctor's desk episodes. I'm totally lying. But you believed me. I should have just left it there. All right. So today, a doctor's desk episode about being bored. Is it good for the kids or not? I cannot count the number of mummy blogs and TikToks that I've read about how important it is that kids have boredom. And so I figured, let's just address this. Let's deal with it once and for all, because there's a lot of stuff out there that's just plain wrong about kids being bored.
Well, it's not very often you sit on the fence, so I've got to ask, is it good or bad?
I love the way that you've said that. So the answer is yes.
Yes to what?
Yes, it is good or bad, depending. It depends. And this is a standard psychology answer, I know.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But it's not a cop-out. There really is nuance here. And this is why I get so irritated when I read these blogs or see these TikToks or reels about boredom, because the answer is genuinely, it depends. Let me ask you this question. What would you see as an argument for boredom? Like, when have you seen boredom being good for our children? We've got a daughter who's homeschooled, and there are times where she is legitimately, there's nothing for her to do. She's done all of her homeschool. She's spent time with her friends. She's done her music stuff. We're tapping out, and she wants to be on a screen, and we're saying, no, you've only got an X amount of time on a screen. So she's bored. So what are the benefits to her being bored in those circumstances? Because it drives us up the wall.
Because it encourages her to tap into her interests.
Okay.
Because we live in a world that just everything's at our fingertips. We don't have to think. We don't have to look very far at all to find something to fill time. And yet when we allow our kids to be bored, it actually helps them remember the things that bring them the most joy.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, you've just used that idea, boredom allows you time to think. Henry Ford said thinking is one of the hardest things there is to do, which is why so few people engage in it. He's obviously putting the entire population down when he says that. But we actually don't like thinking very much. He is right. And with access to all of our screens, for example, that's a perfect opportunity for us to not have to think. So boredom does do that. However, when boredom is occasional and when boredom occurs in an enriching environment, an environment where there are opportunities for children to do good things, that's when it's good. But if they're in an impoverished environment where there are no activities, there's no opportunity, they're literally just bored, and there are no toys, there are no puzzles, there are no games, there are no trees to climb, there are no scooters to ride or bikes to play, like they've got nothing to do, there's no park to play at, that is terribly bad for them, especially if it's for a long period of time. So enduring boredom, bad. Associated with depression, associated with delinquency. Like when I was a teenager and I was bored and I didn't really look effectively at what else was in my environment that I could do, I just went and did things that I should not have done. And
like set
got my... So let's not talk about...
Rubbish bins on fire.
It was in my bedroom, okay? Just in case anyone thinks that I was lighting fires down in the local public park or anything. It was in my bedroom.
Closing cats between screen doors.
Don't talk about that. Seriously. I only did it once. Gosh. We all do things that we regret. Thank you for bringing that up. Did you? Anyway, so yes, boredom can be good so long as it's occasional, so long as it's reasonably short-lived-ish, and so long as the environment offers enrichment and activity possibilities.
So I think that's key. It's about primers. So Emily being bored only works because I've worked out that instead of having everything behind closed doors, because I like things neat and tidy, I actually have gifted her my outdoor space.
Our back deck looks. I don't even know how to describe what it looks like. It looks like an art explosion.
It's her paint shed. It's just not a shed. We can't close the doors.
And we can't use the back deck because there's... but she cuts out cardboard. She's making cardboard dragons. She's doing so much art and she's so creative out there.
And she'll usually have a bit of a tantrum because she's asked me to be on a screen and I've said no. Within seconds of her realising that I'm not actually going to give in, she walks out that back door because she can see the table through the window.
Yep.
And she walks out there and she just starts creating.
And there are days where she'll be occupied for 2 or 3 hours because that creativity kicks in and then we can't get her away from that. It's beautiful. That's the kind of boredom that's good because it leads to positive outcomes. But
the only way it works is because there's primers.
Yes. Yeah. The environment.
You talk about the enriching environment. There has to be books on hand. There has to, like you said, puzzles.
Got to have the Lego.
They've actually got to be out and about. They can see.
Yep. That's right. So that's the answer. Boredom is good and it's bad. It just depends. It depends on what we're doing in the environment, how long it's going for, and that kind of stuff.
So it wouldn't be the doctor's desk without you geeking out on some, neuroscience-y stuff.
Yes.
So can you break it down for us mums and dads who don't have a psychology degree in a way that makes sense? What's actually happening in the brain when our kids are bored?
Okay, so I'm going to make this really brief because
it's not really just about kids, right?
No, it's us as well.
When we're bored as well.
I actually kind of get bored with brain stuff because it's not practical. It's happening in the brain, but whether we know it's happening or not, it doesn't really change a lot of what we do. There's an argument one way and another, but basically inside the brain, there's what's loosely called the attention network. So the attention network includes executive control. That's that prefrontal cortex. You zero on something, you start to pay attention to it, you start to think about it, you start to engage with it. Your frontoparietal lobe kicks in, your speech and language centers in your temporal lobe and your parietal lobe also kick in.
So which part of my brain is shutting off right now?
Right now, you're the parts of the brain that I'm talking about are the parts of the brain that are shutting off because your attention network is starting to dip as you asked the question and then you fell asleep.
Okay, carry on.
So when our attention is high, those parts of the brain are really, really active. But when our attention is low, there's another part of the brain that takes over. So let's say I am droning on about neurochemistry and neuroanatomy, and your frontal lobe and your parietal lobe and your temporal lobe, they all start to dim. They all start to go, oh yeah, this is boring. And so the blood flow and the oxygenation in your brain, it all starts to flow elsewhere.
But I also feel de-energized.
Well, yeah, because it's putting that part of your brain to sleep. And what kicks in instead is this thing called the DMN. I love talking about the DMN. This might be my favorite brain region to talk about, especially when we're talking about raising children. The DMN is shorthand for, or abbreviated form of, the default mode network. So if I'm talking about neurochemistry and neuroanatomy and you start falling asleep, what's going on is your attention network becomes deactivated and this internal network, this default, your brain goes into default mode. That's why it's called the default mode network, or the DMN. And when your brain is in default mode and the DMN is active, the default mode network kicks in, you're not really even aware that your brain's going. But you know when you do have time to just let your brain be, and you start thinking about stuff. I mean, you might be thinking about the washing, what's for dinner tonight, but you also might be thinking about that conversation that you had with a friend a few days ago that you haven't followed up on, or you start to do all the internal work, literally the inner work, the identity building work, the values work, the thinking about things that matter work. There's the technical term for it is interoception. So proprioception, an occupational therapist or somebody like that will talk to you about how children need to have a good understanding of where their body is in space. That's proprioception. So that's looking at where your body is and then looking outwards into space. But interoception, that's where your body is internally, like where your mind is internally. That's stepping into this internal state. And so boredom basically means that the DMN kicks off and you start to think about stuff. This actually ties in with your question about whether boredom is good or bad. Because when boredom is good, you go internally, so your activation network, your attention network switches off and your DMN switches on, and you go internally and you start thinking about stuff, and maybe you do some journaling or you resolve a problem, a conflict, a difficulty. You think about who you are. That's really productive. But enduring, ongoing, sustained boredom leads to the DMN network firing up in unhelpful ways, and it can become overactive, and we start to ruminate. We start to get into anxiety and depression. That's why people who are really struggling, when they go to bed, the DMN kicks in, the default mode network kicks in, and that's why they start to get scared or they start to get anxious at bedtime, because their brain is finally getting an opportunity to go quiet and the DMN kicks on. So that's the brain stuff, Kylie. I know that was meant to be a quick answer. Thanks for staying awake. Are you awake? Hello? Oh, my goodness. I can't believe you did that.
I'm so sorry.
I can't believe you just did that.
So tell me then, we had a conversation earlier about screens
Oh, you and I, yes.
not being a useful way to utilize your time to help shut your brain down.
Yep.
And we differed.
Yes.
So how does screens and boredom work?
Okay, so basically screens are fast-paced, they're stimulatory, so they really grab your attention. They fire up the cortex, especially the prefrontal cortex and that parietal and the temporal lobes. All those things that grab your attention and keep you active and activated, that's what screens do. They're masterfully created by the best brains in the business to leverage every single psychological weakness we have to keep us there.
But I don't have to do anything.
Correct.
I don't have to solve a problem. I don't have to work out where I have to be from A to B.
But it's the attention. So it's costly for your nervous system because it's sucking you in and it's absorbing your attention, but it's not productive. It's not helpful. There's nothing.
But I don't want to be productive.
No, I'm not talking about productive as in getting more things. Not talking about getting more things done. Like, let's go and wipe down the kitchen benches and pick up the towels and all that. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the brain actually having an opportunity to reset. That is productive. And you may feel like your brain is resetting because you're watching a movie or vegging out to some Instagram reels.
No, but that's not why I watch a screen. I literally watch a screen so I don't have to think.
Whether you want to be thinking or not, you are thinking. Your brain is going into...
Yeah, but I'm not thinking about anything that I have to do.
It's still taxing on your brain. So this is the issue. It's still taxing your brain. It's called allostatic overload. And allostatic overload...
Sorry, I'm going to get tired again.
...is associated with increased neurological arousal and increased neurological... And it literally makes you more anxious. Apart from that, here's something really fascinating. If you go in the opposite direction, which can happen when you're on a screen, okay, and you may be going there. If rather than the screen stimulating you, it's actually not.
How often have you put the TV on and I fall asleep?
It's still not actually resetting your system. And this is why. Because you don't get to go into DMN activation. There was a study that we talked about on the doctor's desk a few months ago that showed that spending more time on screens is associated with greater boredom. And that, I think, is really talking about what you're highlighting here. It's still not good for you. It's not recreating you. I beg of you, my dear wife, don't use the screen as I don't want to think about stuff thing. Go out and lay on the grass, go and touch the grass, go for a walk, lay on the bed and do nothing. Pick up a book, analog, and just read.
Do you know who I'm married to?
I'm having an identity crisis all of a sudden. Is that what's going on? All right, we need to wrap this up. The doctor's desk is supposed to be short and sweet, and we have overshot it. So is there anything else that you want to know before we finish our conversation about boredom?
Well, it would be nice if we kind of had some take-homes.
Okay.
So if we recognise that there's goodness that comes from our kids being bored and from us being bored,
yeah,
bored
the right way, not bored on a screen.
How do we deal with it? Because the last thing we want, I know I'm speaking for every mum on the planet, is I'm bored, Mum. I'm bored. I don't want that.
Yeah, okay. So this is the thing that I've really got to emphasize here. The data shows that boredom is associated with improvements in creativity. It does develop independence in thinking, and it supports self-esteem and emotional regulation. This is really important because that unstructured time can help us to sit with our feelings. That's important for us to manage anxiety. If we're doing it right, we're not using a screen, then we're breaking this loop of instant gratification that contributes to the compulsive device use that we go for because we're bored, and it rebalances our nervous system. So it helps us, again, to be a lot less anxious. What do? I'm going to share 3 ideas with you. You can tell me whether you like them or not. First one, you don't have to entertain your kids. You just need to make sure that they're in an environment where being bored is not going to be counterproductive. Okay, so get rid of screens, but make sure that there are other things that the kids can do. And then just say, hey, if you're bored, boring people get bored. A little bit of tough love here. I love you like crazy, but right now, this is boring time. So you can choose whatever you want to do, but you're going to have to figure this one out for yourself. You can journal, you can play Lego, you can build the puzzle, you can play a game, you can ride a bike, you can do any of these things, but it's boredom time. So actually being okay with that. Second thing, I think what we really want to do is make sure that, and I've kind of answered in the first one anyway, is make sure that the children do have solid environmental enrichment opportunities. So number 1, it's not your job. Number 2, to keep them entertained all the time. Number 2, make sure that there is stuff in the environment so that they can entertain themselves. And number 3, I just think embrace it. Connect with other people, get analog, and let boredom do what it's supposed to do, which is to reset your nervous system, reduce that allostatic overload, break you out of that constant feedback loop where you're constantly receiving that instant gratification, and breathe. Just breathe.
I feel a family meeting coming on.
Let's do it. Let's talk about boredom on Sunday. Let's tell the kids they're going to get bored. We need to wrap this up. Thanks so much for listening to the Doctor's Desk episode. We hope that it's answered a few questions, given you some inspo. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media, and Mim Hammonds provides additional research, admin, and other support. If you would like to make your family happier, visit us for more resources at happyfamilies.com.au. We'll see you tomorrow.